Good morning. It's good to see you. Hope you had a good weekend. Come on with us to Genesis 18. I want to talk about what true hospitality looks like. The context of Genesis 18 is Abraham. The Lord appears to him. Abraham doesn't look like he knew who it was at the beginning. We'll see why. Verse 1 says, Then the Lord appeared to him by the terebinth trees of Mamre as he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. So he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing by him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them and bowed himself to the ground. They show up looking like men. What does true hospitality look like? One thing is, it is humble. Abraham bows to the ground. When we're hospitable, it better not be to just put on airs. It better not be so that folks can see what a fine house or a fine property we have. We better not be humble bragging. We need to be humble. Abraham bows down. He calls himself in the next verse, in verse 3, he talks about them, and he says, If I have now found favor in your sight, do not pass on by your servant. That is the relationship. Our guest is our honored guest. We are the servant in the situation. That's what hospitality looks like. Our third point, though, is that hospitality needs to be refreshing. In verse 5, he talks about, Let me bring a piece of bread. Let me bring you some bread that you may refresh your hearts, as they sat underneath the tree. If our guest is more miserable at the end of the day than at the beginning, then something is probably wrong with our hospitality. We need to make sure that we are refreshing to those who we have an opportunity to be hospitable toward. Now Abraham goes and he tells Sarah to start making that bread. He gets a calf, gives it to a young man, one of his servants, to butcher. And all of a sudden you can tell there's all sorts of work going on behind the scenes, and that's what hospitality looks like. We are the ones who are doing the work. Remember, we are the servants. Sometimes when folks are hospitable, they want their guests to work. That's not what hospitality looks like. They want their guests to supply the food. That's not what hospitality looks like. True hospitality is Abraham, Sarah, their servants doing work behind the scenes. We need to recognize it. We need to appreciate it. Abraham is a fine example of something else, though. He asked them if they would like some bread. They say that'll be fine. To paraphrase, the next time Abraham sees them, he has the fatted calf. Abraham is an example of going the second mile, and that's what true hospitality looks like. Going above and beyond what is expected. Giving the best that you have. Not holding back. That's what hospitality looks like. Why did Abraham do it? Why do we do it? It's because the Lord has been gracious to us, and we want to share that graciousness with others. A couple other things you might consider. Why we are hospitable to any and all. It's because we do not know how they will influence and affect us. By the end of this account, at verse 10, one of these men, one of these who has showed up, who appears to be a man, turns out to be the Lord himself. And he tells Abraham, You're going to have a son. And it's Isaac, the son of promise. Abraham would have never found that out if he had not been hospitable. But also, we never know how we will influence our guests either. Because Abraham was hospitable to these men, it gave him an opportunity to step in as the Lord is about to go to Sodom. And to just put it real quickly, Abraham's relative Lot owes his life to Abraham and Abraham's hospitality. Think about it. Hope you enjoyed this study today. God bless you. Be a blessing to others. Hope to see you tomorrow morning.